Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another video. So, the other day, a couple of days ago, I posted on my community tab saying that I was going to be doing a Q&A. And I asked all of you to comment any questions you had. It did not have to be involving just guinea pigs, it could be about anything. And we've had quite a bit of questions so far, so I figured let's get this video started. And our first question is there a specific fruit that you give your piggies as a treat? And the answer is no, there is no specific fruit. I will sometimes offer apple. I will sometimes offer banana. Very occasionally, I will offer blueberry or blackberry and sometimes raspberry, but not often. My guinea pigs do have a preference. It seems to be apple and banana. So those are the ones I usually stick to. I guess that would be I have specific fruits. You're right. Our next question is, how do you make friends with a guinea pig? Now, I'm not 100% certain on what the girls are asking for their veggies. I'm not certain on what you actually mean with that question, so I'm going to take a guess that you're asking how to kind of tame your guinea pigs or how to earn their trust. So, for example, Mateo has been my newest addition that I got a month ago. And with Mateo, what I would do is the first day or so, I tried not to bother him too much, but I still picked him up twice a day for at least 5 or 10 minutes to get him used to being handled. I also had to do an at-home health check with him, so that obviously involved handling him. I typically would just kind of sit by the cage, let them get used to my smell. I try not to bother them or try and pet them right away because they're naturally going to be scared. They are prey animals. So other than doing daily cleanup or feeding, I wouldn't really physically bother them too much, but I would still be around them a lot. And of course, picking them up twice a day. So hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, comment below and we will do another one of these in the future. Moving along, our next question is, what are your opinions on bottles versus bowls? Well, I have done a video about this already in the past, but I will answer that question now anyways. Me physically, personally, don't have a preference on it. Bowls tend to get dirtier quicker depending on your guinea pig individually, depending on how big their cage is, what kind of substrate you're using. Bottles, they can be a hassle because you do have to do daily, or you should do daily cleaning of them. When you freshen up their water, a quick little rinse out is nice. But definitely you gotta clean them out weekly, you gotta clean the spout and everything too. Most bottles come with a little, like a rubber washer, so you got to make sure that that is fitting in the bottle appropriately or properly, because otherwise it won't function properly. You always got to daily check your bottles to make sure they work. You want to make sure your guinea pigs have access to fresh water. As far as bowls, if they're going to use bowls, use ceramic bowls. It's my recommendation. Our next question is, do you have an escape artist? No. Well, yes and no. So there was only one time ever where Savannah managed to escape her cage, but she didn't really, like, jump out of the cage or, necessarily anything bad. But there was one time during the first year that I had them where I was physically hand feeding the veggies and holding the veggies in my hand, and she was very impatient, and somehow in a blink of an eye, I didn't even see it happen, she hopped over from her side of the cage into Eliza and Jane's cage. And so when I went to go give veggies to Lucy, Savannah, and Tokyo, and Lucy, Savannah, and Tokyo, I did not, I didn't see Savannah, and I couldn't figure out why. I think I was doing a YouTube live at that point too, and so I'm counting. I'm like 1, 2, and I'm like, where's the third piggy? And then I look over at the other side, and I'm counting 3 piggies, and it took me a couple of minutes to like actually realize what had happened. And then I gave a big yell, and I'm like, Lucy, what are you doing? And then I realized I yelled at the wrong guinea pig, because it wasn't even Lucy that did anything. Lucy was right there with Tokyo eating. Savannah hopped over into the other side of the cage. So that's the only escape artist that I had, but she's never done it since. Our next question is, do you think annual vet checks are necessary even if the piggy seems to be healthy? Well, as I always try to tell people, that having a good relationship with multiple savvy vets is always a good idea, because you never know when you might need to see one when your pig is sick. And if you don't know how to do at-home health checks, then seeing a vet once or twice a year is a beneficial idea. The next question is, do you leave the lights on or off when you leave the guinea pigs for the night? Well, I don't really necessarily leave the guinea pigs for the night because I don't go away that often, but I am assuming you mean when I go to bed for the night. So to answer that question, I usually turn the lights off because I have to pay for my own hydro, and why keep the lights on? There's usually a small little nightlight that I have in my kitchen, and I have a Himalayan salt lamp on my desk that sits behind the computer. It's full of dust. And so those are the only 2 nightlights that are down here, but upstairs they have a little lamp that's on their air purifier, and then I have a nightlight in my hallway right outside the bathroom. So in their room, per se, they don't have lights on. Our next question is, favorite type of hide? Well, that would be anything that has multiple entrances. So it could be a fiddlestick tunnel, it could be the hide that's in their cage right now, which is a double hide, and it has a little entrance in the middle, so it's almost like a tunneling type hide. I don't know how else to explain that one. I absolutely do love fleeced forests. I prefer either a 1x1 fleece forest or a 2x1 sized fleece forest. I'm not a big fan of the corner fleece forests, but I still do use them. Okay, the next question is, if you got any other pets in the future, what would you like to own? Well, ideally, in the future, I would love to get a dog again, but I'm not a big fan of going outside in the cold weather. I'm actually allergic to severe cold weather. If I go out in severe cold weather, I tend to get welts all along my body, and they're painful and itchy. So ideally, having a dog would not be feasible for me. But if ever there was a situation where a dog really needed somewhere to go, or the risk would be euthanization or something, then I would probably foster to adopt kind of idea. Eventually, in the way future, I'd like to get, I love cats, I do, but I don't like the cat litter. I really don't, so I don't see myself getting cats again. My obsession is guinea pigs, so probably guinea pigs. I would love to own chinchillas one day. I find they are a very unique and adorable species, but I have to do much research on it first. Our next question is, what type of pellet food do you use? Well, I mentioned this in short videos and long form videos before. I used to use oxbow, but my guinea pigs refuse to eat any oxbow pellet at this point, so I don't use oxbow anymore. Sometimes in a pinch, I will get, in an absolute pinch, I get the Great Value brand of food. It's not often, but I do try to keep it on hand in case I can't get my regular pellets. I have to look up what the name of my regular pellets are. Hang on one moment. Okay, sorry about that. So, the brands that I typically try to use is either Selective Naturals, Science Selective, or sometimes I will use the original guinea pig, Little Friends Martin's guinea pig food. And other times, where did it go? It disappeared on me. Other times I will use Vita Balance, Sunseed Complete Nutrition. And there's a couple of other brands that I have tried in the past. I do switch up my pellets every few months to keep the guinea pigs' interest so they don't get bored of eating the exact same thing all the time. But I generally try to make sure that it's a Timothy-based pellet, but it's not easy to get away from the fact that most pellets will have alfalfa-based ingredients in them and other not-so-great ingredients. So hopefully that answers your question on what type of pellet food I use. The next question is, what's my favorite guinea pig product? That is a tough one. It's a very tough one. So while I do love like wooden hides and items like that, the downside is because wood kind of collects moisture and it just sits there. You can't really wash it out. But I like wooden products because it doubles as a chew toy. Now, I love plastic items because you can wash it more easily, but I don't like the fact that it's unhealthy for guinea pigs to chew on plastic. So, I guess my absolute favorite guinea pig product would be anything made of fleece. So, like fleece tunnels, fleece forests, any fleece hides, things like that. Because I know I can wash it, not desanitize it, I can wash it and sanitize it. And so far, the last question so far is favorite hay type. Well, there's such a wide variety of hay out there. Timothy is the best for their digestive system. But I like orchard grass because it's a great alternative for those with allergies. It's also a softer hay, so I find there's a little bit less risk of hay poke, but that's my opinion. That's not a fact. Just to get that straightened out. Honestly, the hay that I feed my guinea pigs, I get from my local farmers, and it's always like a mixture of hay. So there's Timothy, orchard grass, maybe a bit of bluegrass, brome, and yeah. So I don't have a favorite type of hay per se. But if I had to say what my guinea pig's favorite type of hay is, I think they prefer orchard grass. And I will see you again with the next set of questions.